House some prisoners in a prison in another country. Now, I have no idea whether this is legal or constitutional.
It's not legal or constitutional.
And I'm sure that'll be debated out, and if it's not, then it won't happen.
And I don't think you can just turn a blind eye to it. I think it's anti-American. I think the fact that you're going to have individuals in population.
I think part of this facility is to try and incentivize those who are here illegally to self-deport, to say, hey, you don't want to be here. You don't want to go to Alligator Alcatraz. So you should probably just leave the United States of your own accord.
So are people then going to be waiting in El Salvador on their knees bent over while we're waiting for the courts to decide whether that American citizen should have been taken out of this country?
I don't know, but I do know this.
That's not okay.
I don't know.
The worst possible conclusion with nearly everything that Donald Trump says or does.
Oh my God, don't even pull that shit. Hey, what's up? How's it going? My name's Jasmine. My friends call me Jizzy Creams. Welcome to my Abby Phillips Series. And today we're going to be talking about deporting U.S. citizens. And I'm going to be pausing the video, throughout the video here and there, just for short periods of time. And then I'm going to go ahead and save my thoughts for the end, for afterwards. All right? Let's get into it.
Despite all the sort of theater of the Alligator Alcatraz of it all, Trump's comments today were really stunning, honestly. American citizens, he's talking about people who were born here and threatening to, put them in a deportation facility, deport them, take away their citizenship? What are we talking about here?
I mean, he even talked, I think, when he was with the El Salvadorian president about needing more prisons there for things like this. I mean, it's beyond, if you were to make a list of outrageous things Donald Trump was going to do, I don't think this would even have made it on the list. It is so just crazy. But the thing is that crazy things that Donald Trump says come to fruition. He will just do whatever he thinks. And now that this is in his mind, it's truly frightening that he might actually move forward and try to make a penalty for a crime being deportation for people who were born in this country.
Well, it's not just.
I don't know if you guys have ever seen this clip of Dave Chappelle's stand-up where he's talking about Donald Trump. He's like, man, that guy has like ideas of like a really high person when they have bad ideas. He's like, you know what? I'm going to go to China. I'm going to bring all the jobs back to America. And Dave Chappelle's like, why? So iPhones could be $9,000? It's so funny. You got to see it because it's so accurate. And it's exactly what she's saying right now. Only Dave Chappelle, it's crazy because that was kind of a long time ago and Dave Chappelle was so accurate. I mean, Trump's been the same forever, but still.
It's not being deported and dropped off. I think what he has raised is the idea that.
They're not being deported and dropped off. Trust me. If Trump could, he would.
Will house some prisoners in a prison in another country. Now, I have no idea whether this is legal or constitutional.
It's not legal or constitutional.
And I'm sure that'll be debated out, and if it's not, then it won't happen. But what he is saying is, if you have extremely violent populations that need to be housed in a prison somewhere, what's the difference between housing them in a prison here or there, other than the debate, I guess, over the legality of it? But that's what he has been raising.
Other than a pesky little thing called the law.
Okay, wait a minute, Scott. Did you just say what's the difference? The difference is that's in a whole other country where they're being tortured in a camp when they didn't even get due process. It's the same thing as if we took you, Scott, over there. What do you mean what's the difference? It's too extreme for such little crime. Kidding me? Great. It's just wrong. It's just wrong. And think about it. Like, what do other countries want with our worst criminals anyways? It's all political theater. It's just to say, oh, look at us. We're so big and in control. So strong and so powerful and control. And other countries are like, see, we can handle America's worst citizen. It's just all fucking smoke and mirrors. And also, exactly, you don't know. It's not really like a topic to look into. It's a known thing. It's nothing new. I mean, she even said it right there. She said it's not legal. And he's like, well, that'll be looked into. Okay, it'll take 2 seconds to look into it. No, it's not. It's not legal. There, it's been looked into. And the thing that annoys me the most that Scott does intentionally is his little like, oh God, it's so annoying, his little dismissal. Well, I'll just leave it there. I mean, we don't know for sure. It just leaves space for doubt. So people can be like, well, wait a minute, maybe it's not, and I'm like, I can't stand like their way of doing things. They're just making everybody in this country worse. This is nothing to second guess, period. It's not legal.
Law.
Right. And I mean,
I don't think
what
authority would a president of the United States be able to deport American citizens to the jurisdiction of a foreign country? even for committing crimes?
I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what the legality of it is. I don't know if the Department of Justice has issued a memo on it. Just for the purposes of this conversation tonight, what his point was, if you have extremely violent populations that need to be warehoused in a prison, he raised the idea of putting them in a prison.
We deal with
overseas.
extremely violent populations just
I
fine.
just think that I don't think you can say, I don't think you can avoid what Alligator Alcatraz is. I mean, I don't think you can just turn a blind eye to it. I think it's anti-American. I think the fact that you're going to have individuals and populations in there that are stacked on top of each other, many of whom without due process. And let me just also say this before it runs on clips throughout social media, is that I don't think there's going to be any Democrat in this country, including myself or you, Christine, who says that if you have committed a violent crime or any crime whatsoever, you shouldn't be deported. We're not saying that. You should be. However, the fact that Donald Trump this morning said you should learn how to swim sideways. I mean, there are certain things about this country and the virtues of it. And the reason that Donald Trump and others are able to build Alligator Alcatraz is because of the simple fact that you don't give people the benefit of their humanity. I also think that, look, if we want to have a conversation about who belongs where, when, how, and whether or not their citizenship status, and we want to look at everything, I mean, I would look at Donald Trump Jr. I mean, I would look at all of Melania's kids, all of Ivania's kids. I mean, let's just have a full conversation over who belongs here, how do they get here, their citizenship status. Let's just have a full discussion about all of it. Why is that not on the table right now? I mean, the only person here should be Tiffany Trump if we're going to have this discussion.
Oh, Bakari, don't be silly. Rules don't apply to Donald. Why would there be any laws or rules on the felon? No. He's allowed to do things. Anything. We aren't. It doesn't apply to him. We just have to sit here and take it. So, although, yeah, in any other circumstance, Bakari would definitely be 100% right. But in this one, it's a dictator, authoritarian, no, this is not a fit. It's a wild, wild west out there. There's no rules, there's no anything, basically. And you know what? I'm going to play this clip for you. Because this is something that they don't talk about. You'll see why. It's very obvious why they wouldn't talk about this. And this is a huge deal. This is a bigger deal than the idea itself. I'm going to play the clip. Go ahead and play it.
Such just low amount of regulation around our environmental issues already. I'm not surprised that their plan is just to dump a bunch of shit in the Everglades. Where's their poop going to go? I hate to ask the obvious question, but there's no septic system here. It's, not only just the weather itself, they want to torture people with that, but just the sewage situation that multiple people have already brought up. You can't put septic tanks in the middle of the Everglades. People come here, they go on airboat rides, they go see the alligators, they kayak, they stand up paddleboard, they go to the beach. And you think about how delicate it is in terms of being a system. We got 1,000 people. You're going to drive how many miles? 70, 100 miles? The logistics of this are stupid. What happens when you put people in an environment? There is poop, there is pee, there is lots of other kinds of waste. Where are we going to go? So how many more trucks are going to be driving down this road, right? Or are we just going to dump it in the Everglades? I don't know. There's not been a plan. This has been put forth as political theater. The creeks and the water that flows through Big Cypress down to Everglades National Park into the Biscayne Aquifer, that's our drinking water.
Yeah, I bet you wouldn't have thought that, you don't think about things like that. That's horrible. I hope to God they don't actually succeed in this.
Can I ask you, Pete, to respond to what Bakari said about the humanity of it all? The idea that because you're an undocumented immigrant, we don't know who they're going to put there. We already know that a lot of the people that they're detaining don't have criminal records. Where is the humanity, and what place does it have in this conversation?
We'll have to see how many people actually end up there. I think part of this facility is to try and incentivize those who are here illegally to self-deport, to say, hey, you don't want to be here. You don't want to go to Alligator Alcatraz, so you should probably just leave the United States of your own accord. The DOJ...
Wait, I'm going to pause it right there. What the fuck kind of way to say that is that? Why don't you just send them a letter or something? What the fuck? You have to put an alligator fucking jail in order to get that message across? Are you kidding me right now? That is absolutely
DOJ memo
ridiculous.
is very interesting, going back to talking about legalities.
About denaturalizing
we can
citizens.
denaturalize citizens. That is a law on the books. So the DOJ is looking to prioritize the enforcement of America's existing laws. There was an instance just earlier this year where somebody had their citizenship revoked, I can't even say the word. It happened because they were convicted of distributing child abuse materials.
Yeah,
it's something that can happen.
He's talking about, I think he's talking about, it might be the Elliott one, or it might be the Armin Chavez one, but here's the thing that he's not mentioning. It's because he met one of the criteria for it. Yes, he, did the, what was it, child whatever material, but if he didn't meet the criteria for the rest of it, like, I think he lied on his application, okay? That's one thing that you can, it's a big no-no. If he didn't lie on his application, he would just go to regular jail, regular prison here. But the fact that, there are specifics, and we can go over that after this.
Can happen.
It is something that can happen, but it's something that is relatively rare and is usually reserved for
really rare.
Things like what you're describing there. But one of the things that's interesting about that memo is that it says...
Because the thing is, I have to get this off my chest, sorry, I keep pausing it. The thing is, if that were the case, we'd be deporting people, it wouldn't be as rare. Why do you think it's extremely rare? Because it has to in order to get deported like that, it has to be related to the deportation thing. Otherwise, if you're a naturalized citizen, then that means you're equal to being born here. Why would that mean get deported all of a sudden out of nowhere? I mean, since the beginning of time, we've been just sending them to regular jail because they're natural citizens. You're a racist ass, all of a sudden you're like, oh no, we've been doing it the whole time like this, or maybe that's not what you're saying, but you're like, oh well, it should be like this because they're criminals, blah blah blah. What the fuck? What the fuck?
In addition to heinous crimes, right? I'm not sure there's a lot of dispute about the code and what it says about crimes being a case for denaturalization. But it also says cases referred by a U.S. Attorney's Office in connection with pending criminal charges if those charges do not fit within one of the other priorities. So that's basically any crime. Maybe you're caught with marijuana. Maybe you're caught with marijuana. That's any crime. The number 10. Any other cases referred to the civil division that the division determines to be sufficiently important to pursue. So I think when people look at this, they look at this as a carte blanche.
Yeah, it's totally subjective.
To just say, Zohran Mamdani, you're a naturalized citizen. You're a high priority for us. We'll take it away.
Right.
What are the guardrails here?
And you just said it's a little loosey-goosey.
He said, of course.
This is not a good thing to be loosey-goosey with. Denaturalizing people, sending them to jails in El Salvador. I mean, you cannot, by definition, if there was one thing you wanted to have tightened up, it would be this. And you say the courts, so are people then going to be waiting in El Salvador on their knees, bent over, while we're waiting for the courts to decide whether that American citizen should have been taken out of this country?
I don't know, but I do know this.
That's not okay.
I don't know.
To the worst possible conclusion with nearly everything that Donald Trump says or does.
Oh my God, don't even pull that shit.
He said to the El Salvadorian president, we need more prisons there. I'm just basing it on what he said.
Oh my God, I can't fucking believe you just said that, but I don't know, but what do you mean you don't know? What the? That's nuts. This guy. I don't know how, if it's always been in there. I don't know what they gradually got to this point. I always wonder, I'm like, I really try to understand. I try to talk to many people because I want so badly to know and understand how you get to that type of thinking. How did you get there? Because some of these people were normal, intelligent, and Donald just turned all their brains into bullshit, just in no time at all. How the hell? That's just so crazy. But of course, because their brains are bullshit every single time, and I've spoken to a lot of MAGA people, and I'm trying to just ask them, trying to figure out how they got there. I just want to understand them. None of them could explain it. None of them could even understand themselves. They just get all they don't understand what I'm asking them, and it's a whole whirlwind of things. But okay, first of all, to Pete's seat, how about like minding your own business? That's what we used to do in the 90s when all this shit was happening. Everyone just minded their own business. Everything was fine. I mean, I don't know Pete's seat. Let's say I got deported and then I came back, but he thinks that I'm still deported. What does it matter? I'm not interfering in his life. If you just mind, I mean, we could just lie to them. We can just say, oh yeah, they all get deported and they'll still be here. And I bet you anything, they wouldn't notice a difference. They'd be like, oh, but they got deported. They're just, man, they are so dumb. It's so frustrating. I'm sorry. Let's go over denaturalization, okay? If you're a part of like certain banned political groups, and this is interesting, such as Nazis, okay? Nazi affiliation past, any kind of, you know what I mean? This doesn't get you denaturalized. Protesting, criticizing the government, being convicted of most crimes, okay? After being a citizen, if you commit a crime and if you've been naturalized, you go to prison, but not deported. It's just that simple, okay? You know who does meet this criteria? Elon Musk. Elon Musk. It's just nuts. It's just that simple, though. It's 3 things that can get you denaturalized, and 3 things that can't, basically. Lying on your application, involved in terrorism or war crimes, and part of a certain political group that's been banned in the past, like Nazi affiliation. And then this means you're in the safe zone, though. Protesting, criticizing the U.S. government, being convicted of most crimes after being a citizen. You go to prison, not deported. It's just that simple. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and leave it right there. Please like and subscribe if you liked my video. I've got plenty more coming up. Well, I'd like to hear what you guys think about this, actually, because this is definitely controversial, and I feel like most of my viewers are actually MAGA, which is crazy because I'm obviously not aiming for MAGA, but I'm going to try to work with it. And I want the MAGA people to put genuinely, like, good conversation, or, you know what I mean, something that we can, not just insults, or, I mean, you can too, feel free, but I challenge you to an intellectual conversation. And the trippiest part is that none of you guys have been able to answer a question. Isn't that mind-blowing? I kid you not. None of you guys have answered a question. Some of you guys have said, oh, you're not answering your question. I guess you don't know what you're talking about. And then I'm like, and then I answer. And then they don't like it because it's too long. So then I answer again. And then I ask them a bunch of questions. They're like, oh, see, you still didn't answer. I'm like, yes, I did. I articulated it. I'm very constructive with my feedback. And it's just nuts that you guys, and then eventually they're like, oh, well, I'm not even reading them. But look at you, you're not answering. I'm like, then how do you know I'm not answering if you're not fucking reading them? And the guy was like, wow, look, you're so triggered. And I'm like, but you're literally not reading it. So you're just saying, wow, you're not answering, but you didn't read it. I mean, you MAGA people, I swear to freaking heck God, man. I don't know how you guys make sense of that kind of thinking, that kind of behavior, but anyways, yeah. Have a good day, stay cool, it's really hot in New York, and yeah, love y'all.
They got your data, dumbass.
Do not come. Do not come.